take a look at this map. All of the states that you see in red, 32 of them, have seen increases in heroin-related patients between 1999 and 2009. And just this week, Houston police made their largest heroin bust ever. 17 kilos found stashed inside a car, unheard of in their parts. And part of the reason it's becoming so popular, it is cheap, way cheaper than pills, offering much of the same high to users as at a fraction of the cost. So who would know that better? No one would know that better than Bill Pentrianakis. He started on pills. It got so expensive that he moved on. He switched to heroin. So Bill says he is clean now. He is sober and has been for 4 years. So congratulations on that. And we hope you stay clean and sober. What caused you to pull yourself away from heroin?
To pull away from it?
Yeah.
No addict really wants to stay on. But at a certain point, your life gets to the point where it becomes so unmanageable, so terrible that you have to do something. And my life, like all addicts, got to that point.
Okay, so tell us about that. And as you talk to us about your story, when you said we have pictures of you sober and then pictures of you while you were using heroin, your parents knew that you were using drugs, but that didn't stop you. And again, you started like most people start. You started with a painkiller and you know, doing recreational drugs, and then you moved into this because it's cheaper.
Right, absolutely. It started innocently enough with a little bit of marijuana. It seemed harmless at the time, moved on to pills, and then the addiction set in, and I wasn't even aware of it, and everyone else around me knew it was going on, but before I even did. And there was a lot of denial, there was a lot of delusion, and it took a very long time before I could finally admit that I had a problem, and that was when I could finally start asking for some help. So yeah, my parents knew, and they did their best to try to stop me, but there was nothing that was going to.
How'd you get it your first time?
I had a friend of mine, and we were on one of our, normal nightly, smoking runs, a little marijuana. And this one particular night, he had a little treat for me, and it was a pill of OxyContin, and I tried it, and I loved it. I didn't just like it, I loved it. And from that point on, I was asking for more and more until I was not only I was physically and mentally dependent on it.
And dependent on OxyContin. And when you couldn't, OxyContin became too expensive for you.
Yes. Yeah, at that point I started to, I was pawning things, stealing from my parents, my sister, everyone who cared about me. I could have turned them into enemies. I was doing whatever I could to get money to pay for it, but even that wasn't enough. And so I decided to move on to heroin because I heard it was cheaper.
And it gave you the same high?
Absolutely, at a lower cost.
At a lower cost. How long did you use it?
About half the time that I did opiates was heroin. And started out with snorting. And of course, to conserve my money, I moved on to shooting it.
Yeah. What do you say to kids who are watching or parents who are watching? Because, heroin is it's been around for a long time. And there's been it's been used among suburban teens, mostly white kids, since the 90s. But what they're seeing now, so many people dying now, and the use of it has just increased over the last couple of years. What do you say to parents, and what do you say to people out there? Anything that you want to say to them about using heroin or about heroin?
Well, to parents, I would say, know your child, talk to your child, don't rely on schools to do it. Lots of parents think that they're just going to get taught in health class about drugs, and their kids know better. Look for the signs. Look for, if you think something is off with your kid, you know your child best, and you should confront them about it. And to kids out there, students, teens, whoever is in that range that's starting to use, I would tell them, you are the rule, not the exception. Before people start, they believe that they are the exception. They are going to be the ones that they're too smart to become addicted. They know about addiction, so that insulates them from becoming addicted. No. If you start this, you will end up in a bad place.
Hear that, kids? You'll end up in a bad place. Every day it's a struggle, right?
At first it's a struggle. I mean, at this point I put it behind me, and I'm doing very well. But for a very long time it was a struggle. I mean, you don't get clean overnight.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Bill. And just real quick, thank you and good luck to you. What's the name of your organization again, Pam?
Matthews Fund.
Matthews Fund. And it's online. Is there Matthews?
Yes, beatingthedemonsofdrugs.com.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thanks to Bill. Thanks to Pam and to all my guests.